Trump's advisory council. In an internal letter to employees, CEO Ginni Rometty wrote this: "Some have suggested that we should not engage with the U.S. administration. I disagree. Our experience has taught us that engagement is the best path to good outcomes. IBM does not espouse a partisan or political point of view." Joining me right now, Forbes media chairman and former Republican presidential candidate himself, Steve Forbes. Steve, good to see you.
Good to see you, Maria.
So Ginni Rometty is on the President's CEO Advisory Council. This comes as more than 100 technology companies, including Apple and Facebook, signed a legal brief against President Trump's travel ban. What do you think about this?
Well, I think her letter was exactly right. If you want input, if you want a good outcome, then you have to be there and give advice. She pointed out she's not endorsing, but this whole thing that you must have no contact with an administration you disagree with, precisely you want to have contact, precisely you want to have influence. You want to try to get policies to go in a positive direction.
And makes no sense to not have any access to the president of the country. I mean, I don't know. What do these employees want?
They think if you just stay away, somehow Trump is going to go away. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
You know,
so Rometty is facing this
4
internal petition by several IBM employees asking her to affirm the company's values. They wrote this: "Hostile rhetoric toward immigrants, Muslims, Latinos, LGBT people, and others impinge on our core values of tolerance, diversity, and open exchange of ideas that are essential for innovation and our ability to recruit top talent." The New York Times is reporting roughly 1,000 verified employees have signed this petition.
Well, again, it's nice to have those values and express those values, but if you're not there to make the case, that's going to get lost in the shuffle. So she's there in person. When you talk to somebody face to face, has more impact than a piece of paper or something on a screen.
Yeah, it's incredible. All right, let me ask you about the nomination and the confirmation of Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. What do you think this means for tax reform?
I think the president said it a few days ago when he got the markets up, when he said in 2 or 3 weeks they're going to have a humongous tax proposal out there. I think they realize if they don't go on offense, especially after what happened to General Flynn, the mishandling of the whole executive order on immigration, they got to have something positive that gets people excited and looking to the future. So I think this is going to speed that process up, or at least keep it going in the next 3 weeks.
Well, look, we know that we're probably going to have an idea of what the tax package looks like within short order, but we probably won't see it implemented till later on in the year. But look, this border adjustment tax, the Republicans want it in. That's the Paul Ryan, Kevin Brady plan. I know Trump did not talk about a border adjustment tax at all on the campaign trail. Think it's going to be included? I know you don't like it at all.
It's a disaster on working families, 20% sales tax, and the Republicans should drop it. The Senate is not very favorable to it. So the House loves it. The House Republicans have fallen in love with this crazy idea. The Senate Republicans have not. Donald Trump's got to make that decision. And if you put that in, you have a fight among your allies. Our own European trading partners and others are going to take us to the World WTO for adjudication of this thing. So it's unnecessary. Go for a clean tax cut, as Trump outlined in the campaign, as others have outlined, and make it announce that even if it takes to get summer or fall to get this thing, it's going to be retroactive. Boy, that gets people excited. Right. Something to look forward to.
Well, you know what, though? When Kevin Brady was asked, actually, recently, he said, look, if we come out with the plan toward the end of the year, we'll have to see if it's going to be retroactive or if it just begins in 18. So we don't know that it's going to be retroactive right now.
Politically, it better be 2017, because if they go in 2018 and the economy isn't booming, they're going to have trouble in those midterm elections. And the administration should realize now, yes, they're trying to get their footings, as any new regime does, but they're not going to get any slack from the media. They better get something big where people can feel at the end of the year, Trump has done something for me and for the country and for the economy.
You make a good point. But, you know, the Republicans want revenue. They want this tax package to be revenue neutral. How do you take taxes down? You have a corporate tax rate from 35% to 15 or 20%, and how do you pay for it? They want revenue. They think that this border adjustment tax will raise, what, $1 trillion? $1
trillion over 10 years, at least $120 billion year to year, out of the pockets of American consumers. The way you get revenue is by having a buoyant economy, booming economy, assets going up all across the board. And that's what a cut in tax rates would do. And they have to realize when you make an announcement you're going to build a new plant or do something, it takes time to do it. When Trump announces when he's back in the real estate days, we're going to build a new building. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes several years. So this revenue neutrality thing is unreal in the real world. It takes time for these things to come online.
And the Committee for a Responsible Budget would say, well, you're going to add to the debt. We are $20 trillion in debt. We know that the debt had doubled under Barack Obama. We were at $10 trillion. Now we're $20 trillion. This tax package is going to add to that.
Tax package will ultimately lead to what Reagan's tax packages in the 80s did in the 90s, when you had some spending restraint. Ultimately leads to a balanced budget. But the key thing is, you're never going to get hold of our finances if this economy remains stagnant.
Yeah.
And that's why the debt doubled under Barack Obama, 2% growth plus his reckless spending. So Trump reigns a little bit on the spending side, gets a booming economy. That picture changes very rapidly.
Yeah, that's a good point. Look.